Yeah, do you want to come in now? You're welcome.
Yeah, thanks very much, Kelleher. Look, just to say at the outset, I too did express some reservations at committee stage on this particular issue on foot of Deputy Quinlivan's amendment. And having studied and analysed and read the recommendations in the context of the CNAG, the fact that we don't need to have a huge reserve available for PIAB to operate. And any excess money should be returned to the Central Exchequer. I think that's a reasonable point, as long as the guarantees that you have given, Minister, to the House in terms of the operational costs and the capital costs and the contingency reserve that would be required for PIAB to function normally in its day-to-day business and in its further strategic planning. And there's no doubt what we don't need is for there to be undue delays. For us to read somewhere in a PIAB annual report that waiting times for assessments have elongated, have been further lengthened because of the fact that not enough money is being allocated. So what we do need is, and I think that the commitments you've given are enough to assure me that this particular amendment is unnecessary. But bear in mind, it was put down for the reasons that we all have, and that is we must ensure that PIAB is a functioning entity that can carry out its duties on a timely basis and with a strategic plan in front of it. Of course, the broader issue, Minister, is, and PIAB has been around for some time, because of the escalating personal injuries claims that have been placed on insurance companies for a long period of time. The fact that the Book of Quantum from time to time isn't adhered to by the judiciary, and that we have this continual escalating award system in place, whereby one ward sets in the precedent and then it seems to continually creep up in personal injuries assessments. That seems to be the case. We're completely out of kilter with European norms. We're completely out of kilter with the UK in terms of personal injury assessments and the awards made for similar injuries. I don't think that the Irish NIC is any stronger or any weaker than the British NIC or the European NIC, but we do have this continual increase in personal injury awards, which is something that I think is causing alarm out there among businesses, individuals who take out motor insurance, and those that are generally law-abiding in the sense that they have an obligation to have liability cover, and at the same time, when there is a claim, it seems to be inordinate. I said previously, Minister, it's not a victimless crime. Fraud is not a victimless crime, and in the context of insurance, insurance scams are not a victimless crime. They impact on businesses. They impact on the ability of a business to employ people and to function. And I just think that we have been lethargic, to be very mild, in our approach to address this particular issue. So while this amendment, I believe, is unnecessary in the context of making sure that PIAB has enough resources available to it, the broader issue of support from government in terms of policy and resources to ensure that we don't have abuses carried out continually in the insurance business by fraudsters and chancers. And there is no doubt, if you talk to those that are insuring businesses and insuring motorists, it's no longer anecdotal, it's empirical evidence. There is wholesale abuse and fraud in the system. And it is having an increased cost to motor insurance cover and business public liability. So for all those reasons, Minister, PIAB is one particular area that we have to address to make sure that it can make timely assessments and awards, that they take out the cost that would be incurred by taking cases through the courts, which are more robustly defended and have extra costs incurred. But the broader issue of fraud and the claims they're made of, I think is an area we have to address. And two issues were made and recommendations have been made before. One is that there would be a Garda insurance fraud unit established. Now, I am still of the view that this should be done, Minister, and I'm still of the view that you are wringing your hands of this particular proposal, whereby the insurance companies would actually make a contribution either to the Central Exchequer itself or directly to the Garda Fund. I'm not quite sure how that would be done, but equally I am of the belief that something must be done to investigate continual fraud by individuals who see this as just another money-making racket. And I have said previously, if a person walks into a shop and jumps over the counter and robs a few euros out of the till, there will be a Garda investigation and there probably will be a criminal sanction. But yet you can walk into the same shop and fall in the toilet and make a fraudulent claim and nothing happens. Nothing happens. You go to the court, and if you're awarded, well, better again for the fraudster. But if you're not awarded, it's just struck out, and that's the end of it. That is the end of it. There's been no prosecutions for perjury or for fraudulent claims being presented to the courts by chancers and criminals. And you, Minister, and your government have been very slow in accepting and recognising this fact, which is no longer based, as I said, on anecdotal evidence, but is empirically supported by the statistics that you have and we all have. And it is now time for us to send a very clear message to law-abiding people that the state, through the Garda Síochána and the courts and the prosecutorial services, will stand by people who are doing their duty in terms of taking out insurance, both for motor insurance and civil liability and public liability. And that's an obligation that you should take seriously, Minister. And your government should certainly support you in that endeavour. So while I won't support the amendment tabled by Deputy Quinlivan because of it's a recommendation by the CNAG, as you pointed out, and its Constitutional Office that's making this recommendation, the issue of the broader support required by the insurance companies and the courts must be supported by you, Minister, and your government.
Will that Minister wish to?